Linda thought she was helping her son through a difficult season. That's how it started. Not with theft, not with a forged signature, not with a bank alert, just a series of small requests that sounded temporary, emotional, and reasonable. He was under pressure. Wedding expenses were piling up. Work had been inconsistent. He promised he'd pay her back. He said, "Family helps family." Linda agreed. By the time she realized what had really happened, more than $200,000 of her retirement savings had disappeared. This wasn't a story about a stranger. It was a story about the person she trusted most. This is what elder financial abuse by family can look like, why it is so difficult to spot while it's happening, and the warning signs families need to take seriously before help becomes theft. Linda was in her late 70s, widowed, careful with money. She had spent years building a cushion that would let her age without fear. Nothing extravagant, just a nest egg. The kind of savings older Americans build because they know life gets expensive, fast. Her son had always been charming, not irresponsible in a way that looked dramatic from the outside, just always one step behind, one explanation ready, one new plan in progress, one temporary setback away from getting stable. People around Linda had concerns, but Linda saw potential. And once a parent has spent decades seeing possibility in a child, it becomes very hard to switch from hope to suspicion. The first requests were small: a loan to help with deposits, some extra help with planning costs. He framed each ask like an inconvenience, not an entitlement. He acted embarrassed, grateful, temporary. That matters, because when someone pretends they hate asking for help, it lowers your defenses. It makes the ask feel modest and sincere. Then came the helpful ideas. He suggested making things easier, consolidating accounts, helping her manage payments, reducing her stress. At some point, access became normal. Maybe he handled logins. Maybe he had paperwork. Maybe he had authority on one account that spread into influence over the others. That is where abuse often hides. Not in one huge event, but in convenience. Over time, Linda stopped tracking everything as closely because she believed someone she loved was helping her. And because the money didn't vanish all at once, the loss stayed invisible longer. That's another pattern families miss. Large financial abuse often looks small at first. A transfer here, an explanation there, a payment described as a loan, another expense framed as urgent. But the total grows quietly, and once wedding costs turned into debt problems, and debt problems turned into short-term emergency asks, the pace accelerated. Linda began using savings she had never planned to touch. Then one day, a routine review of her balances didn't make sense. The numbers were lower than she expected, much lower. She asked questions. The answers came fast, too fast. He blamed timing, transfers, pending reimbursements, then paperwork problems, then pressure from other people. When deception starts to crack, the explanations usually multiply. Eventually, the truth came out. Her son had been taking money far beyond what Linda understood, and some of it had never been framed honestly in the first place. By then, her retirement cushion had been devastated. The emotional damage went deeper than the number, because stranger scams leave victims feeling tricked. Family betrayal leaves victims feeling ashamed for loving someone enough to trust them. So what are the warning signs viewers should remember? First, repeated temporary family loans are not always temporary. Second, any adult child or relative who wants access to logins, account visibility, paperwork, or payment control should trigger a second layer of oversight. Third, if one family member becomes the only interpreter of financial reality, that is dangerous. Fourth, secrecy, guilt, and emotional pressure are as powerful in family abuse as they are in stranger scams. And finally, aging parents should never have only one person with unchecked financial access. Dual review protects everyone, including the honest family members, because the most painful financial crimes are not always committed by outsiders. Sometimes they are committed by the people who already know exactly how to be trusted. In the next story, the message looked like it came from her real bank. She called the number thinking she was protecting her savings, and within hours, $47,000 was gone. Watch that next, because the most dangerous scams no longer look fake. They look exactly like the institutions seniors already trust. And if you're watching for yourself or for a parent or grandparent, subscribe to Safe Retirement for more scam warnings and retirement safety stories.